I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to start. I have 2 weeks to start. What are you gonna do? Hello, everybody. It's Maya, the mystic. Last week was finals week. So this week, I lock the fuck in. I feel like school right now for me is a means to an end. I feel like it's great for a lot of other people. For me, it's, it is what it is. But never let anything get between you and your dreams. Never let anything. Because it's so easy to think of everything as an excuse not to do what you're meant to do. But no one can get you to do what you need to do other than you. So are you gonna sit here and be like, well, I can't do this because I'm so busy, or make the time, you know? And once you get all those things out of the way that you're saying are in your way, if you don't use that time like you said you were going to, then what's the point? Then don't press yourself about these dreams that you have if you're not going to achieve them. Because that's just bad for your mental. You're like, oh no, I'm not doing enough, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. That's not good for you either. So either let yourself be or do what you need to do. And that's the place where I am right now. Got to this point where it was like, if I don't do this now, I'm not going to do it. So, like, last month, middle of all the school and all this shit, I decided, like, I know what I need to do, so let's do it. So I went on this 2-week journey. And I was like, okay, I have 2 weeks to start. I have 2 weeks to start. What are you gonna do? I think I was trying to start. My mom, she has this business, metaphysical business, giving people the tools they need to develop themselves spiritually, whatever they believe in, but everyone has spirit and everyone can connect with themselves, Anyways, but yeah, and ever since she passed, I've been wanting to get things back up and running because I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel it in my spirit, you know? So these 2 years I've been grieving and I've been growing up. I felt like, oh, I can't do this because this is in my way. I can't do this because this is in my way. And a lot of that space I did need. I needed the space so that I could just like take my time and like heal. But there's never gonna be a perfect time. You're never gonna be completely healed. We're always healing, but no, there's no point where you can't get better. And something I learned about grief is that it stays with you. I'm sure it'll get better over time. I'm sure it does, but it's something you live with. And if you use that as an excuse not to live your life, then you're never gonna have a life that's worth living. So I decided I have 2 weeks to get this website up. I have 2 weeks to do this. And I chose 2 weeks because that's when the full moon was, and I'm really spiritual. I was like, yo, the moon. So I was like, yeah, give me 2 weeks. And guess what I did in that 2 weeks? I designed a website from scratch. I got all the stuff that I needed. I got all of the things that I needed to do to start and make products. I did that shit. You know what else I did? I read and edited my mother's book in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. And that's just not easy. I'm not saying you should go and do all that shit, but do what's right for you. If I can get up out of my depression feeling like a soggy potato, like straight, get out of that and jump into doing something that will actually fulfill me, then you can too. But like, you have forever to do what you want. You have forever to chase your dreams and pursue them, but you don't have forever to start. So give yourself a deadline and do the shit. Because no one else is going to do it for you, you know? And I was like, it was a really emotional time for me. I wasn't like, when I started, I wasn't okay. But going through the motions and doing everything that I needed to do, doing the paperwork. I did the paperwork too, y'all. I did paperwork. Like, it was really emotional. I was crying. I was like, but I needed to do that. And doing the work will heal you along the way. But you can't wait until you're healed to do the work. Mhm. And like everyone is gonna tell you about discipline. You gotta be disciplined, you need to be disciplined. It's not that easy. But it's not supposed to be, you know. During this whole ordeal, I decided to fast. On top of all these things I was doing, I decided to fast. And everything I needed to do, it came to me. But you have to do something that'll help you tune into you. Forget about all the other bullshit. I forget about everything else. I didn't talk to anybody. Oh, I did not talk to anybody on that journey. Not about what I was doing or what I wanted to do. I decided just to do it. I decided, let me not talk to this guy. No. Hone in and do it. So I suggest that you take that time, you know, you take that time and you do what you need to do. Sometimes doing one thing feels like you need to neglect another thing in order to get it done. And I believe that I can have it all. I want to believe that. But I believe that's true. During that 2 weeks, I shut everything else out. You know? I shut everything else out. But there has to become a point where you hone in and you focus. Even if that means neglecting other things. But not against yourself, you know? Don't neglect yourself to do it. But choose your challenge. Are you going to struggle doing something that you don't want to do? Or are you going to struggle doing what you do? And if you make that decision, then you're going to have to neglect the thing that you didn't want to do. I mean, if I'm just being honest. Or at least that was my experience. Maybe you guys are just superheroes. And you can do it all. But I can't. Not yet, at least. You know, fingers crossed. But it was tough. And there were moments where I was like crying my eyes out. I was reading this book, bawling my eyes out. And at moments like those, you have to decide, like, how do I keep going? Sometimes the answer is you need to go to sleep. Everything's better after you wake up. Everything's better after you wake up when you're exhausted. And other times it was like, oh, I don't want to clean this up. I don't want to make the space to do all these things in. Sometimes you need to push through. But rest is a part of the process. Telling yourself, oh, no. You're all in your mind. You feel like you can't do this, you can't do that. Da, da, da. That's exhaustion. That's just exhaustion. That's just fatigue. So go to sleep. Go sit down, go scroll on TikTok or whatever. But keep your goals in mind. Go to sleep so you can wake up and keep going. But that's my piece for right now. And that's all I can think of to say. You know, the more you talk, the more you want to talk, the more you want to say. But that's what I gotta say. Alright, I'll talk to you later, guys. Love you. Bye.